DSCL League. But here, of course, we are the first game of the losers match of Group G. It is in the bottom right corner of the map. Our Dutch Terran player from EC Visualize, PbNoRe.
And his opponent spawning in the top left position from Russian Universe of Warhammer. It is the yellow Zerg player HyDrA or HyDrA.
I think it's HyDrA, like the HyDrA. Of course, the capitalization is all custom, but I think the pronunciation doesn't necessarily change.
Yeah, it shouldn't.
HyDrA is like IDRA, but with the H at front.
Right, so most of the time, Zerg players really wants to go hatch first versus Terran players, if they have the opportunity, unless you're Tefl, in which case you always 14 pool. But this map is a little bit different, considering the distances between the main base and the natural base. It might be a little bit tough to defend your natural versus the first couple of units that the Terran players produce. The Reapers are a big threat at that stage. Since you're relying on Queen for defenses, and this is going to be a long time before these two bases are connected with creep, we should see a pull first, and indeed we do. Pull followed by a gas even.
Right away the gas.
Wow. So, wait a minute. I mean, this could turn into an all-in, into a one-base all-in from HyDrA. If he doesn't take the natural, then it very well may turn out this way. Let's see if he produces an Overlord right now or not. Doesn't look like it. So he may go into an expansion.
Yeah, there's a drone moving out. This might be an expansion, so the early pull might have just been a precaution.
Yep.
Yeah.
As well as the gas. My guess is that he'll mine 100 gas and then pull out the drones, which he should be doing in a couple of seconds here. In the meantime, he's just getting his forlings, and he'll probably follow that up with an Overlord and a Queen. And there we go, pulling out those drones. Once he hits 100, queues up the metabolic boost, which is the speed upgrade for the Lings, and he'll be quite safe versus Reaper Harass. First Reaper in production, on the field, and second in production right now. We should see an expansion coming out of the Terran player as well shortly.
Definitely. You don't want to stay behind in that respect for too long. This Reaper, of course, is going to get full confirmation of what is going on in the Zerg base, because all of the Zerglings that have been produced are now entering the natural expansion of the Terran. Actually, they might delay the natural that's coming down right now.
Yeah, they might.
You think that was
the SCV.
You think that was a bit of a risk, building the natural on the low ground?
Definitely was. Considering this map is has a pretty wide open naturals. That's always a risk. It's almost always safer to build that natural. To build that second command center on the high ground. But that also does a couple of nice things for HyDrA here. It forced PbNoRe to bring back the second Reaper, so no probes will be, no drones will be lost, at least for the time being, by the Zerg player. But he has lost all those 4 links, so he has to rebuild those forces. But now that the speed has finished, he can actually build a lot more links and try to make something happen with those, because the reactor is not even done on the barracks. So by the time those now freshly being produced links, by the time they arrive at the natural base, there will be 2 Marines at max if the switch did not happen. So yeah, it's going to be, well, 1 Hellion because of a supply block here, actually.
Of course, the supply depot got raised just in time. Oh, there we go again. Okay, so the Zerglings are stuck outside, now being fired upon by these 2 Reapers that are still active there as being defensive. Oh, but the command center barely didn't finish, so PbNoRe cannot lift it.
Yeah, he cannot, and it's 1 second away from bringing down now. A very nice job here by HyDrA, trying to delay the defensive units here in order to allow those links to get the command center, and he gets the cancel. Huge pick up there for HyDrA.
That is definitely a very big. I think PbNoRe scratches his head now and thinks, well, maybe I should have built my command center on the high ground, and I wouldn't have had any of these problems that I have right now. And yes, like you said, he's supply blocked again. Of course, he might have been counting on the command center to give him some extra supply. And now that the command center has been finished, yeah, he's in a bit of a pickle. Actually, you saw him use a supply drop just now on the supply depot at his ramp. also in a bit of a vulnerable position maybe. But now he's unsupply blocked and building a medevac there. So maybe see if he can return the favor. But of course, it's not going to be as a big deal as canceling your natural expansion.
Yeah, and he's going for a very aggressive follow-up, for a very aggressive answer with this. Hellions, Reapers, and Marauders. Stimpack is being researched as well. So we're going to have a very old-school Hellion Marauder push here. That's pretty difficult to stop when you don't scout it, if you don't have roaches out on the field by the time this hits. You're going to be in a world of hurt, because Lings and Queens just melt to that composition.
Mm-hmm. But then again, of course, it's not going to be as powerful as it would have been if it had hit sooner, or maybe with a natural to back it up.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So, and the scouting by HyDrA is actually really good. He's got Lings all over the map, so it's going to be tough for PbNoRe to get across. Actually, well, he just waltzes right through the middle. And doesn't get scouted.
HyDrA did see that move out. He didn't see the Marauders though, because they are hidden in the medevac. He only saw the Hellions and the Reapers, so he might think that, well, if I make enough Lings and I get a good surround, I'll be fine. But now the Marauders get unloaded, and this completely changes the tide of battle here. As those Marauders immediately targeting down the creep, the Queens, as we can see. Nice micro there by HyDrA, however, keeping all of those Queens alive, taking out the Marauders, targeting those down as well. But now without the Lings, these Hellions may actually be able to bring those Queens down to death as transfuses go off. So far HyDrA staying alive, but the third base is under great amounts of pressure.
But there is no real follow-up from PbNoRe on this. He's just building on his economy, making some Widow Mines back home. And this amount of Zerglings will definitely push out the Hellions. Well, actually, no, the Hellions are being controlled pretty good.
Well, he loses a couple of those. He lost all of the Marauders right now, and he lost the medevac as well. That's a huge loss there. But still, 4 Hellions are kept alive, and there are no Lings right now on the field. Certainly not enough to contest with these Hellions. So those Hellions might try to go for a second go, maybe pick off a Queen, maybe a creep tumor, maybe a couple of drones at the third base. We can see them edging around the creep right now, but no, PbNoRe is going to be a little bit more careful, pulling back. He knows more Lings will be on the way. 1-1 upgrades have been queued up in the meantime for HyDrA, as was the lair, and the game is going to calm down, at least for the time being.
Yes, we see these players pretty close in supply, but seeing as how HyDrA now has a third base up, which is of course where you want to be as a Zerg against the Terran, I think HyDrA is in kind of a nice position. He is also very aware of the fact that PbNoRe has no third base yet. I'm not sure if HyDrA knows that there's not even a third command center on the way yet, but at this point, I'm not sure whether HyDra's behavior should be any different, judging on whether there's a command center or not, because PbNoRe is already pretty walled up. Look at the amount of Widow Mines at the front. There's no way that any amount of Zerglings is going to be running up there without taking significant losses.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, PbNoRe is just turtling up at this point. The biggest advantage I'd say that HyDrA has right now is the upgrade timing. His 1-1 just finished. The Terran's 1-1 is barely 50% down. And HyDrA's got every single tech he wants to have in the mid-game going for him, and he's setting up nicely. He has the Spire, he's got the Baning Nest almost finished. He's getting the Burrow upgrade as well. He should be getting Overlord speed in a while here, or definitely after he gets his Mutalisks out. He should be getting the Overlord speed just to make the Overseers slightly faster and help in detecting Widow Mines. The fact that PbNoRe has not built a third command center up until this point, we have one being built here at the natural base. This puts him behind in economy a little bit in the long run. He's going for a push here.
But there's a significant amount of Banelings, and the Spire is also finishing up right now, so you might have to look at the amount of gas that HyDrA has saved up.
Yeah.
So there might be a significant amount of Mutalisks coming out, and with the Banelings already there, PbNoRe is going to needs to do a great job at microing this. But look at the look at this! All those Widow Mines.
Oh well, half of those do go off. Actually, all of those have gone off. And now the Zerglings can take those out. There was a secondary Overseer there. An attempted drop at the natural base, but that was deflected with the help of the Queen and the Spore Crawler.
Right.
And
I guess we
yeah,
could say this was pretty bad for PbNoRe. He basically lost all of his force except that medevac, which is very low on health. And he didn't really force a traumatic response from HyDrA, who's now happily upgrading away pneumatized carapace on the way, and centrifugal hooks to show speed for the banelings, and of course a pneumatized carapace. It gives increased speed to overlords and overseers, so that when they accompany the mutalisks that are now out and flying into the main base, they will be just as fast, and the mutalisks will be able to spot hidden widow mines easily.
If you can get the cancel on those upgrades, this will be a huge advantage for him in the mid game. Considering he hasn't queued up his 2-2 as of yet. Once he kills these engineering bases, he'll be like, haha, and now I can go into 2-2, defend for a little bit, and then, once those upgrades finish, there's no way you can beat my army. He even gets the... Oh, he even gets the armory? No.
No.
Wow. That would have been bad.
Definitely. But this is a good win as it is. So PbNoRe is actually scrambling, thinking, what should I do now? He's continuing to make widow mines and is rebuilding the two engineering base at a more safe location, I'd say.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Look at the amount of mutas, by the way, definitely growing. It's up to 23 mutalisks already.
Yeah, that's the number you pretty much want to have, 20 to 30 mutalisks. Once you get to that number, in this situation, I mean, there's almost nothing that PbNoRe can do to answer this threat. He has scanned prior to this fourth base being tried to lay down by HyDrA, so he goes in and forces a cancel on that one. But yeah, this is pretty much the only thing that PbNoRe can do to get back into this game. As illogical as it may sound, versus Mutiling Blink you actually have to drop. Yes, you are going to be losing your medevacs, but you have to continuously do economical and army damage to your opponent.
Keep the mutas inside the Zerg's base instead of harassing your own base.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
Now, PbNoRe tries to get his third down, has to wait a little bit for that creep to dissipate. Restarts his upgrades, but yeah, this is actually a little bit of a misstep here by HyDrA. He could have secured a very nice advantage there with those upgrades, but failed to queue those up. Prioritized his Mutaflock over the upgrades, so he's definitely going to be looking to take out his opponent with having advantage in the air as opposed to having advantage on the ground.
Yep.
He did get another base in the top at the 1 o'clock position, and is getting another one here on the left.
And the Mutalisk's flock is flying into the main base once again, but there is a widow mine there. It got taken out before it could do anything. But this is a very dangerous amount of widow mines. Oh, she's taken out medevacs!
Oh, this was a very bad move by PbNoRe. I mean, with the rate at which the units are unloading there, you're never going to unload enough units fast enough to take care of those Mutalisks, and there's the GG from PbNoRe.